Well, okay, folks, I'm back. I know you're probably disappointed. It's definitely been a minute. I'm recording this from Kuwait, actually. It's been here for a month now. It's really been an incredible experience. The people of Kuwait, the Saudi work colleagues, they've just been incredible, kind, and helpful. Really enjoying my new role here. So, with that being said, if there was ever a topic that my future employment, that put my future employment in jeopardy, this might be it. And the fact that I'm saying that, I think, is why it's so important to actually talk about it. And what does it mean under the lens of human and organizational performance? So, you ever walked in a room and the room is full of leaders, and there you are having to tell them the baby's ugly? It's not very fun. It's actually pretty damn intimidating. You walk into the room, you're the lowest cat on the organizational chart. You're looking up at all these leaders, many whom you may admire. And you have all this anxiety, and the biggest reason for that is, how are these women and men going to respond to what I'm about to tell them? And, I think we've created such a culture in business, in all different types of business, to be honest, where we tell the leaders what they want to hear. And by the time the people, the decision makers, if you will, learn the truth or get exposed to the truth, we're so far past the point of recovery that we can't recover. And the frustration is that, had we addressed this early on, we had enough resiliency in the system to recover. But now it's just too damn late. And so, I like to tell stories that hopefully they're new stories, and many of you have never heard them before. I'm also an oil and gas and energy sector guy, so So I have yet another oil field story for you. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back a little bit in time. We're going to go back into 1969. Pretty incredible year, actually. We had Woodstock rolling, and then the Apollo 11 brings the first humans to the moon, allegedly. And one thing we don't talk a lot about is we had the third worst spill in U.S. waters, which now is behind the Valdez and the Deepwater Horizon. And interestingly enough, when you look at the events of the spill we're going to talk about and some other environmental disasters that happened around that time, it actually led to establishing the EPA and what we call Earth Day now, which so happens to be my son's birthday. So my focus today is on the events surrounding the Santa Barbara oil spill, but not so much the spill itself, because, well, it is a fascinatingly tragic event. It released 80,000 to 100,000 barrels of oil into the beautiful Santa Barbara Channel from Unical's Platform A. Thankfully, there was no loss of human life. But the topic that I want to speak about today is something that came about following the oil spill. And so today we're going to talk about how our response and how leaders' responses matter and why they matter so much. So it's a pretty sobering thought that, as a leader, you're constantly under the microscope, but at the same time, it does come with the salary. But the fact is that the way our leaders respond and react to our company's success and our failures, it matters tremendously. And so our response, or in some cases the lack thereof, it's a deliberate choice, and it absolutely influences what's going to happen next. And take this video for example. There's a lot of people from me on up the chain of command, and I don't know if they could get away with making these videos. So when you look at the leaders' responses and how we respond matters rather. So the morning the oil spill reaches the shore of California, there was a Senate subcommittee hearing, and this hearing was being broadcast over 3 major news networks. And, what you have to understand is that this is also in the advent of, this 24-hour news cycle where it's beginning that everybody wants to be the first person to report anything. So in this news conference, or in this Senate subcommittee hearing rather, the president of Unical, Union Oil, Fred Hartley, in his testimony, he says, and I quote, "I don't like to call it a disaster because there has been no loss of human life. I am amazed at the publicity for the loss of a few birds." So, listen, I am not here to put on a witch hunt for Mr. Hartley. I know enough about human and organizational performance that really try to look at the context of the event. But it is so easy to Monday morning quarterback Mr. Hartley on this one. Could you imagine today the CEO of a major oil company saying something even closely resembling this? You think Elon Musk smoking weed on Joe Rogan's podcast was troublesome for Tesla? This would be cataclysmic. So, again, our response has to be deliberate. So you think about people we know, leaders, just in that we've seen deliver good and bad news, who can take a question, or, those kind of people that can tell you failed and you turn around and you thank them for it just because of the way they deliver it. I think about President Reagan, President Obama, personally, General Henry responding to Hurricane Katrina. Politics aside, these folks had it when it came to their responses. I look inside my own career. If you've ever had a chance to listen to the now retired Gary Luquette, or currently Emer Bonner, or even Steve Connor in GOM, these people, when they respond, they do so in such a purposeful way, but sincere, in all honesty, very sincere, that they can deliver bad news easier. It's kind of like the spoonful of sugar. And at the same time, they know how to deliver the good news as well, where it motivates you in the right direction. Though I will say, public service announcement, I cannot support mustache only Steve. I just can't, sorry. So, for those of you that remember, you can think back to the first employee town hall with Mr. Worth at the helm. And if you remember, he put up his college ID on the screen for a laugh, but it was purposeful. That bit of playful self-deprecation was really meant to humanize him, in my opinion, and I think it worked. So in my case, I speak in memes. Not everybody can translate that. But these are all, thoughts about how we respond to others and why it matters. And so a few takeaways when you talk about human and organizational performance. So obviously, rule number one, we understand mistakes happen. But if we react negatively when they happen, how often do you think our workers are the frontline workers, those that actually keep the stock up, how quickly do you think they'll be to report the next near miss or the next event? Or will they sugarcoat the message? And any opportunity we had to actually learn is gone. And so every single aspect of improvement hinges on and especially the leaders, deliberate decision that we want to get better. And so one other thing to remember is that no response is still a response. And, as leaders, we create our own feedback system. If we surround ourselves with people that just want to tell us what they think we want to hear and not what we need to hear, then by the time we realize that things have gone pear-shaped, we're so far past the point of recovery, and there is no way of putting Pandora back in the box. So I'll leave you with that. As safety professionals, it's not always fun. We may not always think or we may think it is somewhat career limiting to call a baby ugly. But at the same time, sometimes we have to deliver that hard message. And so I'll leave you with that until next time, folks. Remember, don't be a safety guy.